A Lonzo Ball trade has the possibility to change everything for the Cleveland Cavaliers, as Koby Altman could acquire Lonzo and find a way to get other pieces to completely revamp this team while getting to their needs. Hey everybody, Billy BB back with you on Cavs Digest. Offseason continues. As usual, we are going to keep you up to date with everything being rumored, talked about, ideas being thrown around by both us, you guys, writers, ESPN, different hosts and shows and everything. There's so much going on. The Cavs are a really, really hot name in this NBA offseason. I say offseason as the finals are still going on, but for the Cavs, it's the offseason as they begin to look at all their options. Time to move away from the Darius Garland talk in this video today, just because the toe injury, I think, says a lot about his trade ability, and I know we've discussed that many times, and something could still happen, but we are going to break down a little bit about Lonzo Ball, why his name is connected to the Cleveland Cavaliers, what the Cavs could swap for Lonzo, and what the Cavaliers could go big and swap for Lonzo and other names on the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are a super interesting team to make a trade with. It's going to be very difficult. They have a lot of interesting and tough-to-get contracts, but we'll break that down more in a minute. And we'll also have to really get into the relationship between you and the guys the Cavs have. You will have to decide and let us know, as I looked over this also, how comfortable are you getting rid of blank name? And we will go over those names because this is a tough trade. I think we've talked about guys where it's easy to get rid of them and we're ready to get rid of them and we're throwing them easily in trades. And then there's guys where fan base is split. They're tired of this guy or they're not. They know what this guy brings or they're just tired of it only being what that guy brings. So we will need you to drop down in the comments and we will need you to subscribe because videos like this land right on your For You page or your main screen when you go into YouTube. This video is going to land right in front of you. All our videos are going to land right in front of you for free when you subscribe. So we get to this discussion on the Cavalier podcast with Chris Fedor and the other beat writers from Cleveland.com. And they discussed Lonzo Ball again. This is not the first time they have discussed Lonzo Ball to the Cavaliers, and I think it's super interesting because this has been discussed many times now, and it seems like these guys, and Chris Fedor, who I have a lot of respect for, seems now sold on Lonzo Ball. That seems to be a thing for Chris Fedor. They seem to be really considering Lonzo Ball as a steep option for the Cavaliers, and he's interesting to me, and more than ever, when the Cavaliers finished that series with the Indiana Pacers, the need for a ball handler really, really stuck out, right? So from day one, Lonzo, Lakers Lonzo, Pelicans Lonzo, pre-injury Lonzo, really seen as a great defender. I think there is still a great defender in there, and of course there's a good ball handler and passer. There always has been, and that won't go away with injuries. I think he can still do that passing-wise. But that lengthy 6'6" wing defense has been there for years, and it's been a serious draw for teams to consider getting Lonzo Ball because of that ability to defend and pass. His three-point shooting a little bit better when he came back this year and played a little bit, so you like to see that. For the Cavaliers, they are interested in a ball handler, another ball handler. I don't think this trade has anything to do with Darius Garland. That's a big thing for me. Now, Fedor notes in this, it's an article about their podcast discussion, so you can either go listen to the podcast or read about the discussion. Lonzo dropping from $21 million to 10 and 10 over the next 2 years, which is just electric in a trade. Really, really good. Now, for the Cavs, that's good. For the Bulls, obviously, you don't want to get rid of an asset like that easily. That's where this trade is going to get very difficult if you're a Cavs fan and want this to happen. It's easier said than done. Dropping down to $10 million and being given up and being acquired a good player without giving up something that the Bulls, who love to remain competitive, may I add, love to float 500 plus, obviously are going to want something good back. They are. And to take Lonzo, who just got healthy and just made a difference for them down the stretch, I think it's going to be difficult to convince them, right? So you love that they have that $10 million range, and you love what Lonzo can do. And when he's healthy, he's good, and when he's healthy, he's a benefiter to your team. But you kind of have to assess that. So now that we've established that 10 million, I do want to add here that when I went into the trade machine, they still have him at his 21 million. I'm not sure if it's just not updated yet for the offseason. So kind of just put this in the trade machine with some ideas, and it can't say like if it completely works or money plus minus or whatnot. So just had to throw a few ideas in there. So right away with this one, as you can take a look, as I said, you have to get comfortable to acquire a guy like this, really deciding how much you like other guys, okay? So you get Lonzo Ball, the passing, the defense, distributor, all that, and Pat Williams, who's had a pretty good NBA career. Hasn't flourished the way they'd hoped, but definitely is a good, real NBA player at the 4. And then you're giving up a Jarrett Allen, you're giving up a Max Strus, and you're giving up a Jalen Tyson, okay? And right away, you can drop down in the comments and tell me to cut it out and tell me that's too much. These are the type of trades the Cavaliers are going to have to make this offseason. I've talked about this. If you put emphasis on the idea that this roster and this team has to change and can't just run it back, you cannot just come into trades thinking, okay, I'll give Isaac Okoro and Craig Porter Jr. You have to really get comfortable with saying, okay, I'm going to have to give up real players from this team that haven't shown up in the playoffs for new players that could show up, right? So I still think you could swap like an Okoro for Valanciunas or whatever. Allen, you have to decide what you like from Jarrett Allen, what Jarrett Allen's done for you. Same with Max Strus. You're either a Max Strus guy or you're not. Tyson didn't play. So you have to decide if you want a guy who doesn't play or might not play on your roster, again, going into the playoffs, instead of 2 guys that could really benefit your team. That was my first mock trade there. Kind of a similar one, maybe a little bit better. You replace Strus with Okoro. You get Ball and Vucevic. This one's a really, really tough trade to swing. Again, Lonzo's not making that $21 million, so I just don't think NBA Trade Machine is up to date yet. So you do get a big, and you get a ball handler and wing defender in Lonzo. You got to hope he's healthy. You got to hope he's feeling good going into this season. Otherwise, you're just not going to get the Lonzo Ball you're hoping for. And again, as much as this trade is about getting Lonzo Ball, it's changing up your team. So you get a Lonzo Ball, and maybe you could just clean swap Jarrett Allen for Lonzo Ball and, one other throwaway player, or even, just Okoro and, Dean Wade and Jalen Tyson. I mean, maybe you could go for that trade, but I think if you really want to revamp your team here, if you want that chance to change everything, you can do it in this trade. You can get young guys under contract that'll play for you consistently. Maybe not upend guys like Pat Williams are what they are at this point in their career, but could really benefit. So, drop down into the comments. What do you think about these mock trades I've come up with Lonzo Ball? Do you like Lonzo Ball that much? What do you think about the guys I listed, both as a package and individually? Are you done with Jarrett Allen? Are you done with Max Strus? Isaac Okoro? Are you willing to give up Jalen Tyson? It's going to be an offseason where we have to discuss these important things. That's why we want to hear from you. Get into those comments. Let me know what you think. We'll talk about this more on Cavs Digest.